Did you know that using the wrong fuel for your car or truck could cost you hundreds, even thousands of dollars in repairs, while also draining your wallet at the pump? Most drivers think all fuel is the same, but the truth might surprise you. Choosing the best fuel for your car or truck isn't just about saving a few cents per gallon. It's about protecting your engine, improving performance, and getting the most out of every mile. With so many options at the pump, regular, mid-grade, premium, diesel, and even ethanol blends, it's easy to feel confused. But don't worry, in this video, we'll break down the science behind fuel grades, uncover the myths about premium gas, and show you exactly which fuel is best for your vehicle based on how it's built and how you drive. By the end, you'll know the smartest choice for your ride and your wallet. No matter what you drive, whether it's a luxury car, a pickup truck, an SUV, a compact sedan, a hybrid, a sports car, a convertible, or even a muscle car, if it runs on gasoline, then this video is for you. Now, when you pull up to the gas pump, you're hit with a bunch of options. You've got the cheaper regular gas, the mid-grade option, and the pricier premium or super gasoline. But here's the big question. Which one should you choose? Nobody wants to use the wrong fuel and risk damaging their engine, losing fuel efficiency, or wasting money on gas that won't actually benefit their car. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what fuel your car really needs and the science behind why, so you can stop guessing. I also want to give a quick shout out to Shell for supporting this video and for letting me take over one of their pumps to show you, step by step, which fuel is best for your vehicle. It's time to bust some myths and get to the real facts about gasoline. All right, let's get started. Here's what you'll usually see when you walk up to the pump. In this example, we've got diesel over here, but we're not going to focus on that today. If you own a diesel car or truck, you absolutely shouldn't put gasoline in it because the engine won't run properly and you could seriously damage it. The same goes for the opposite. Never put diesel in a gas-powered car. But since this video is all about gasoline, let's focus there. In the US, most pumps give you three main choices: 87 octane, which is regular, 89 octane, which is mid-grade, and 91 or 93 octane, which is premium or high-test fuel. Now, these octane numbers tell you just one thing: how resistant that fuel is to detonation or engine knock. And let's clear up one of the biggest myths right away. The idea that a higher octane number means the fuel has more energy, which gives you better gas mileage or more horsepower. That's completely false. All gasoline grades, 87, 89, 91, and 93, contain the exact same amount of energy. There's also a misconception that different octanes burn hotter or colder, or that premium burns slower or faster. Not true. All gasoline burns at the same temperature and speed. Another common myth is that premium fuel burns cleaner or more completely than regular fuel. That's also wrong. A more complete burn depends mostly on the fuel-to-air ratio inside your engine's combustion chamber, not the octane rating. So here's the key takeaway. 87 and 93 octane gas have identical energy content, but 93 has a higher resistance to detonation than 87. And that's what really matters. Detonation, also known as engine knock, can be destructive to your engine. That's why if you have a turbocharged, supercharged, or high compression engine, like the one in this Corvette, you're more likely to experience detonation if you're running a lower octane fuel. High-performance engines create more heat and pressure, which makes it easier for the fuel to ignite prematurely before the spark plug fires. And that's what you want to avoid. So by understanding what those octane numbers actually mean, you can choose the right fuel for your car and avoid expensive damage without wasting money on premium gas if your car doesn't actually need it. That knocking or detonation you sometimes hear sounds like a bunch of marbles or ball bearings rattling around inside the engine, making a sharp metallic pinging noise. And trust me, that's never a good sign. Let me explain why. Here's what happens during the normal combustion process inside an engine. When you're running the right octane fuel, the spark plug ignites the air-fuel mixture, and the flame spreads evenly outward from the spark. This creates a smooth, controlled burn that builds steady pressure, pushing the piston down. After that, the exhaust gases are expelled from the cylinder, and the cycle starts all over again. Now let's see what happens when you use a lower octane fuel than your engine requires. The air-fuel mixture still enters the combustion chamber, and the spark plug ignites it as usual. But as the flame front expands, the pressure inside the cylinder rises too quickly and causes pockets of the unburned mixture to ignite prematurely in different spots. Instead of a smooth burn, you get multiple mini explosions happening at once. That metallic knocking you hear is actually the sound of these uneven explosions, which can be extremely damaging to the engine's internal components. We're talking about potential harm to the pistons, piston rings, valves, head gasket, and even the engine block itself. This is why higher octane fuel is crucial for high compression or forced induction engines like turbocharged and supercharged setups. Higher octane fuel resists detonation better, keeping combustion smooth and controlled. Now, most modern fuel-injected cars come with something called a knock sensor. Think of it as a doctor's stethoscope for your car's computer. It listens for engine knock. When it detects that knocking sound, the computer automatically adjusts the engine timing to reduce or prevent further knock. But here's the thing, you don't want your engine knocking in the first place. The goal is to choose the correct octane fuel so knock doesn't occur at all, instead of relying on the knock sensor to save you. That's why the decision you make at the pump really matters. While higher octane fuel is more resistant to knocking, that doesn't mean you should always buy the most expensive premium gas you can find. If your car is designed to run on regular 87 octane fuel, premium won't magically make it run better, you'll just be wasting money. On the flip side, if your engine is built for premium fuel and you put in regular, you risk serious engine damage. In just a moment, I'll show you how to figure out exactly which fuel your car was designed to use, so you're not overpaying for premium when you don't need it, or harming your engine by using fuel that's too low in octane. But first, let's bust another common myth I hear all the time: that gasoline in the US isn't as good as the fuel sold in Europe, Australia, or other parts of the world. People often believe this because they see octane ratings like 87, 89, and 93 at American pumps. And then they look at pumps overseas and notice ratings like 95 and 99 octane. Since those numbers are higher, they assume the fuel must be better. But the truth is, there's more to it than just the number you see at the pump. You might think that means fuel in Europe has a higher octane, but that's actually misleading. The difference comes down to the octane rating system. In Europe, they use the RON scale, research octane number, while in the US, we use the PON scale, pump octane number. So even though the numbers look different, the fuel is essentially the same. For example, Europe's 95 octane fuel is roughly equivalent to our 89 octane mid-grade, and Europe's 98 or 99 octane matches our 93 octane premium. Hopefully that clears up the myth. Gasoline in the US is very similar to gasoline in Europe. The rating systems just use different measurements. Now that we understand octane and how important it is for preventing engine knock, there's one more key factor to talk about: fuel additives. Every fuel brand is required by law to include additives that help keep your engine clean. These additives prevent carbon buildup, also known as gunk and sludge. While all brands use additives, they don't all use the same amounts or formulas. Each company has its own proprietary blend. For example, Shell adds up to 7 times more cleaning additive than what's required by law in their premium fuel. That extra additive can help keep your engine cleaner over time. So what do these additives actually do? They help prevent and clean carbon deposits that can form inside your engine, on the fuel injectors, pistons, piston rings, and valves. Without these additives, carbon buildup can make your engine run less efficiently. Now, I don't just want to tell you about it, I want to show you. Let's start by looking at the difference between clean and dirty valves. Here we have 4 valves from a port-injected 4-cylinder engine. This first one is a completely clean valve, so you have a reference for what clean looks like. Next, here's a valve with a normal amount of carbon buildup. This is what you typically see in a daily driven, port-injected car. You'll notice there's a thin layer of carbon where the valve seats against the cylinder head, as well as some deposits on the valve stem and underneath the valve head. This is normal and usually not a problem. Now take a look at this third valve. It has a heavier layer of carbon deposits. It's still not terrible, but you can clearly see how the buildup is thicker. In engines with direct injection, the buildup can get far worse, especially on the tops of the valves. This carbon buildup can lead to several issues. It reduces how smoothly air flows over the valves into the combustion chamber, can cause the valve to seat improperly, and affects how well fuel mixes with air. Over time, this leads to loss of power, reduced fuel economy, and less efficient combustion. Now that you've seen the difference between clean and dirty valves, let's check out fuel injectors using a fuel injector tester. Here we have 4 fuel injectors. Injectors 1 and 4 have a nice, even spray pattern, just how they should be. But injector 3 shows signs of buildup. The spray pattern is weaker and less consistent. Injector 2 is the dirtiest of them all. It barely sprays a fine mist and instead shoots a thin stream of fuel. Look at injector 1, the clean one, next to injector 2, the dirty one. The clean injector atomizes the fuel properly, creating a fine mist that mixes efficiently with air. The dirty injector struggles to atomize, leading to uneven burning in that cylinder. This uneven spray pattern can cause poor fuel economy, reduced engine power, or even slight misfires. In some cases, a clogged injector like this can seriously impact performance. Using a high-quality fuel with strong cleaning additives can help prevent this buildup and even clean partially clogged injectors over time, restoring a proper spray pattern and improving performance. I think it's awesome that we get to actually see how the fuel injectors spray because it really helps you understand what's going on inside the engine. Now, the last thing I want to show you is the top of a piston. I don't have any pistons lying around since they're buried deep inside the engine. So instead, we're going to use a special borescope camera to peek inside and see how carbon deposits form on the piston head. I started by removing the spark plugs so I could slide the borescope through the spark plug hole and into the cylinder. Take a look at the piston top. You'll notice some dark spots that I've circled in red. Those spots are carbon deposits. A thin layer of carbon buildup like this is completely normal, but if it accumulates too much, it can actually raise the engine's compression or create hot spots. Both of these conditions can lead to detonation, which is something we want to avoid. That's why fuel additives are so important. They help keep the entire engine clean, from the valves to the injectors to the piston heads. Now, Shell's V-Power Nitro Plus fuel does a few extra things worth mentioning because it's pretty impressive. Let's take a closer look at the inside of an engine to understand what the additive does. One major goal is to reduce wear and tear inside the engine so it lasts longer. That's not easy because there are a lot of fast-moving parts under extreme heat and pressure. Normally, the engine oil is the primary protector of these moving components, but Shell's additive actually lends a hand. It forms a thin layer on the cylinder walls and helps protect the upper piston rings against friction and wear. That's pretty cool technology. Another benefit is for cars that aren't driven frequently. Maybe you only take your car out for track days, or you keep it stored for the winter without starting it for months. In those cases, the fuel system can be vulnerable to corrosion. This additive helps protect the metal surfaces inside the fuel system so they don't end up corroding, like the damage you see on this valve. So now you know about octane and about fuel additives. But what does all this mean for you and your car? The answer is simple. Always use the fuel your manufacturer recommends. The people who designed your car and its engine know exactly what fuel it needs. If the manual says use premium, use premium. If it says regular, stick with regular. There are 3 easy ways to find out what your car requires. Check the fuel door. Open it up and look for a sticker. For example, on this car, the sticker clearly says use 91 octane or higher. Look at the fuel cap. Sometimes it's printed right there. Not all cars have it though. For example, on my drift stang, there's nothing on the fuel door or the cap. Check your owner's manual. Flip to the fuel section. For instance, my drift stang's manual says use 87 octane, regular gasoline. The manual also has extra tips about things like driving at higher elevations or what to do if you hear knocking, so it's definitely worth a read. If you don't have the manual, there's one more place to check: your dashboard. Look near the fuel gauge. Some cars will say things like premium required. Now, there's an important distinction between required and recommended. If your car says premium required, like some performance vehicles do, then you must use premium. Running regular can damage the engine. But if it says premium recommended, like my Corvette does, then the car can safely run on regular gas. The knock sensor will adjust the timing to prevent detonation. You may lose a bit of fuel economy or horsepower, though it's often barely noticeable. Still, premium is better if you want the best performance, but it's not mandatory. There are also a few special situations where you might need to deviate from the usual recommendation. Older engines with carbon buildup. For example, my truck has over 150,000 miles. One day, while accelerating on the highway, I started hearing detonation. I immediately filled up with premium, and the knocking went away. Most likely, carbon deposits increased the compression or created a hot spot in the cylinder. Premium fuel solved the issue. Shell even claims that running their premium fuel for 2,500 continuous miles can clean up to 70% of carbon deposits in injectors, and in port-injected engines, 70% from valves, which is pretty impressive. Modified engines. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with your fellow drivers, and subscribe for more car tips and tricks that keep you and your ride running at peak performance. Safe driving, and see you in the next video.